Well, they were talking about that, they didn't like that they didn't carry the children around, they didn't like, no, because they think it's over and done with. Depending who you are, I guess. So they went home to services, I mean, you know, the children and everything else. I think I should get my Tom clean, it looks awful dirty.
It is dirty.
Hmm?
Or even I cleaned it. I don't know what I got.
Or at least it. Get that won't smell like me,
Take it.
won't smell like me. Nobody's here, I don't have to wear it right now.
Hmm?
Nobody's here, I don't have to wear it right now. I get wet, maybe my father didn't have to wear this. Or they don't want a mess.
Not the same as no mess.
Hmm?
No mess. Not the same as here.
I can see that, you know, the traditions of the children. I do feel a lot better. The queen is riding again.
You?
I mean,
You?
queen,
Who's the queen?
so there's hope for me.
Who's the queen? Oh, the queen. Sabbath.
Morning, how's it going?
They're pretty good. Bernie, I put your stand back over there.
Okay,
No. No, the girls.
You're doing it differently now.
Yeah, we separate now. We don't go up to the toll anymore.
oh,
And they don't circulate the toll around anymore.
okay.
We have a COVID committee that takes all these roles.
In the show that I've been going to, it's packed, everybody's sitting close to each other, dancing around.
No, yes, well, you got Ron DeSantis there, that's why.
What?
Ron DeSantis, the governor.
Oh.
He doesn't care.
But I don't know that they had any
Any issues?
issues, to my knowledge.
Hopefully that's true.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Bernie Roth.
Hi, Lou Spiro. Lou Spiro.
What's your first name?
Lou.
No, we,
Good
It's
thing.
hard to pronounce.
and you don't, we're just checking to see if you have your hearing aids.
Yeah, I have one.
He can't hear
I
with his
can't hear
hearing,
anymore either.
he can't hear with his hearing aids either.
I can tune into the Bluetooth here.
Oh.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't have any Bible study this morning.
Doesn't look like the big.
Yeah, I know, that's why I came late.
People come late.
Yeah. So how's everything?
Everything's good. We're gonna go visit Harvard next week, Thursday, for a week.
Where are you going?
Concord, New Hampshire. New Hampshire.
New Hampshire? Concord?
Yeah.
I think I have a nephew.
You have so much family, how can you keep track of them?
He doesn't really live, he lives close to Concord. He lives in a wood, in the woods.
Okay.
They got rid of all their stuff
can't help any more than that.
You're all gated.
Ernie.
Ed,
Oh,
Miss
yeah.
Chavez. Nice to see you.
Hey, Luke.
Not so long, but yeah.
Are you gonna be staying in Florida?
I lived in Boca Raton,
Okay, she's south of, she was south.
you know.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, well,
I'm out of here, yeah, that they were people who used to go down there when they were younger. Very close to there. Joe Ray, some of these other places.
His parents lived in Fort Lauderdale.
My son settled, I don't know, you know Michael? Okay, he, settled in, Boca Raton, because I have two grandsons in Boca Raton. I also have a grandson who, works in that area, but he lives south of there in Fort Lauderdale. And I have, one, two married families in Miami and two unmarried grandsons in Miami. So,
I look, I'm going on her state.
good job, Miss Bev.
Shabbos welcome, yeah.
Shabbat shalom, good morning, everyone. He's back. A hero's welcome. Good to see you, Bernie. Baruch haba.
Thank you.
Baruch
Good
haba.
to be here.
Good, good, good.
I already feel better.
Hi.
Believe it or not,
Shalom,
my
good to
leg
see
is a
you.
little bit swollen.
Exactly.
Coming back the next day,
Exactly.
we started, I'm sweating.
Yeah.
And, today, the other one is almost, I went to the doctor yesterday, and he said, yeah, the left one's a little bit swollen.
Hi, sorry, I didn't want to run away from you.
Whether it's time, which is always possible, or whether it's location, I don't know. But,
Or maybe a little one.
Yeah, I think that's quick.
Very, yeah.
but I have noticed that, over the years,
Because I don't wear most
at
of it.
least the past years, things happen,
Something different today.
and then they jack me with Shabbos. I saw Cindy, but I don't see her
She went
there.
right behind you.
Oh,
You're
What's
sitting
the
there?
same
No,
Yeah, we're over here.
I knew both box.
I moved to.
Oh, good, thank you. I was looking for it to move it.
oh, you were using it?
No, she was here today.
Oh,
You have precedence. Oh, you did bring some heat with you.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
so anyway, what I was going to say was things come suddenly, and then they go away just as suddenly. Well, maybe not so suddenly, but gradually. And why they arose in the first place, I have no idea.
Well, since I need to do this, the history in America at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? Bruce,
Yeah, that is exactly.
maybe you want to draft
You know, there are so many things,
books
so
in the
many
middle,
things
and
that
then
we
I
have
can lean
no
out one,
control
like
over.
the third chair will understand.
And if we do something, there's no way we're going to do it.
That's right. Except I'm always amazed at the healing God. You can look over the book, because when you stand, I just don't believe
I know you do.
So,
And what's on the
that
way.
you probably shouldn't crush your
I must
legs.
be out of some
So why don't you get a chair I'm just in saying. front of you like I You do? probably shouldn't cross your legs.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Take from the back, Bruce.
The doctor kept saying to me yesterday, if you cross your legs.
Because there's regular people
And
there.
when I was talking,
Oh, yeah.
That's it, you know, my first career was a nurse, Huh? so I had a little bit less than you. If you
but
want
it
to
is
chair,
true that it does cut down both the circulation, and also it has an effect on the.
And he doesn't like.
So you gotta think twice. Yeah.
So when I think about it, I go,
Shabbat Shalom and good morning to everyone. In honor of Bernie's visit or arrival or return, let's begin on time. Page 103. Hello? How about now? How about working now? Really? I'll let Ed know. Shabbat Shalom Taubes, good morning, good to see you. Shabbat Shalom everybody, I've moved over here. Apparently that microphone is not syncing with our loop. So I am here, page 103. If it's comfortable for you to rise, please do. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasech vivina lehavchin ben yom uben laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzalmo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrihim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumihim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurihim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kufufihim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa li kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tif'ara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten la yawev koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavri shena menai utma me'afapai. ותננו היום ובכל יום לכן ולחסד ולרחמים בעיניך ובעיני כל רואינו ותגמלנו חסדים טובים. ברוך אתה אדוני גומל חסדים טובים לעמו ישראל. We turn now to page 102. If it's comfortable for you to remain standing, please do. And if it's not comfortable, then by all means, sit down. Baruch she'amar v'haya ha'olam baruch hu baruch oseh v'reshit baruch omer v'oseh baruch gozer u'mekayem baruch merachem al haaretz baruch merachem al habriot baruch meshalem zachar tov lireyav baruch chaylat v'kayam lanetzach baruch bodeh u'matzil Baruch Shemo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ha'el ha'av harachamanu. יחיד חי העולמים מלך משובח ומפאר עדי עד שמו הגדול. ברוך אתה אדוני מלך מהולל בתיש בחורות. Let us turn now to page 145, and we may be seated. Ed, I just wanted to point out, Bruce said that microphone seems to not be syncing. It seems to not be working with the loop. How about now? No, still not? Let's try this again. Are we working now? Excellent. Okay, all's good. All's good. Page 145. Nishmat kol chai tevarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu. ומתירה והמתירה סירים, סוקף כפופים, אילופין ומלא שירה קיימות. הנה אנחנו מספיקים להיות שעשיתם אבותינו ואמותינו ועמנו ממצרים גאלתנו. מי ידמה לך ומי שווה לך ומי ילך לך אל הגדול הגיבור הנורא. הלל קל נשבחך ונפארך נברך את שם קודשך כאמור לדוד ברכי נפשי את אדוני וכל קרובי את שם קודשו. Page 147 at the top, red arrow. שוכנד מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני לישרים נאווה תהילה בפי ישרים תתהלל ובדברי צדיקים תתברך ובלשון חסידים תתרומם ובקרב קדושים תתקדש ובמקלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל ברינה שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור שכן חובת כל יצרים לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו ואמותינו להודות להלל לשבח לפאר לרומם להדר לברך להלל לקלס על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות דוד בן ישי עבדך משיחך ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו האל המלך הגדול הגיבור ברכות ועדות מטה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך אל חי העולמים 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 good יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעולמה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ימרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן ביעלמה וימרו amen. We turn to page 149 for Baruchu. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. יוצר אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל. הכל יודוך והכל ישבחוך והכל יאמרו אין קדוש כאדוני, הכל יאמרו חסלה יוצר הכל. אין קרקך ואין זולתך, אפס פלטך ומיתו מלך. אין קרקך אדוני אלוהינו בעולם הזה, ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי העולם הבא. אפס בלתך גואלנו לימות המשיח, ואין דומה לך מושיענו לתחיית המתים. Page 151. אל אדון על כל המעשים, ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה, גודלו וטובו מלא עולם, דעת ותבונה סובבים מותו. המתגאה על חיות הקודש, ונדר בכבוד על המרכבה, זכות ומישור לפני כיסו, חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו. טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו יצרם, בדעת, בבינה ובהשכל, כוח וגבורה נתן בהם, להיות מושלים בקרב תבל. מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה, נאה זיום בכל העולם, שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם, עושים באימה רצון קונם. פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמות סהולה ורינה, לזכר מלכותו קרא לשמש, ויזרח אור רעה והתקין צורת הלבנה. שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום, תפארת וגדולה, שרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש, לאלה ששבת מכל המעשים ביום השביעית עליו. תתברך מושיענו על שבח מעשה ידיך, ואין מורה אור שעשית יפארוך הסלע. 153. תתברך צורנו מלכנו וגאלנו בורא קדושים. כולם אהובים, כולם ברורים, כולם גיבורים, וכולם עושים באימה ובירא רצון קונם, וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה וטהרה, בשירה ובזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים, ומאפרים ומריצים, ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל, המלך הגדול והגיבור, והנורא קדוש הוא. וכולם מקבלים עליהם על מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים רשות זה לזה, להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח, בשפה ברורה ובנימה קדושה, כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלך כל הארץ כבודו. והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מתנסים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, לאל ברוך נימות ייתנו למלך חפץ. המחדש בטובו בכל יום תמיד מעשה ראשית כאמור, לעושה אורים גדולים כי לעולם חסדו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות. Top of 154. אהבה הרבה אהבתנו, אדוני אלוהינו, חמלה גדולה ותורה חמלת עלינו. אבינו מלכנו, בעבור אבותינו ואמותינו, שבטחו בך, ואת למדם חוקי חיים, כן תכוננו, ותלמדנו. אבינו האב הרחמן והמרחם רחם עלינו, ותן בליבנו להבין ולהשכיל, לשמוע וללמוד והאר עינינו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה וישועתך. והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו. כי אל פה אל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול. סלע באמת להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. I think someone is stuck in a bathroom. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לו תותפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. כימי השמיים על הארץ. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בטיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו. וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת, יציב ונכון וקיים. לדור ודור הוא קיים, ושמו קיים, ובחיסון נכון ומלכותו. אמת ומנחות. אמת שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, מלכנו מלך אבותינו ואמותינו, גואלנו גואל אבותינו ואמותינו, יוצרנו צור ישועתנו, עודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך, אין אלוהים זולתך, עזרת אבותינו ואמותינו אתה ומעולם. תהילות לאל עליון ברוך ומבורך, משה ומרים ובני ישראל, לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים, לשמחה על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו וימלכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובטחי נאמך יהודה וישראל, גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. The repetition of the Amidah begins on page 159. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elahei Avoteinu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גואל לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה האדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקהיהם אמונתו לשני יעפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים ברוך אתה האדוני מחיי המתים נקדש שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ויאמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול מתנסים לעומת שרפים לעומתם ברוך יאמרו ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך מתי תמלוך בציון בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך לדור ודור לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים ועינינו תראנה מלכותך כהדבר האמור בשירי עוזך על ידי דוד משיח צדקך ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהי ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. We may be seated. We are on page 162. Yismach Yismach Moshe b'matnat chelko ki eved ne'eman karata lo klil tiferet berosho natata be'omdo lefanecha al har Sinai ושני לוחות אבנים הוריד בידו, וכתוב בהם שמירת שבת, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, בהני ובהן בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי היא 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ולא נתת אדוני אלוהינו לגוי ארצות, ולא הנחלתו מלכנו לעובדי פסילים, וגם במנוחתו לא ישכנו ערלים, כי לישראל עמך נתתו באהבה לזרע יעקב אשר בם בחרת מקדשי שביעי, כולם יספעו ויתענגו מטובך, והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו, חמדת ימים אותו קראת זכר למעשה בראשית. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, רצה במנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך, סבנו מטובך, ושמחנו בישועתך, וטהר ליבנו לעובדך באמת, והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך, וינוחו בה ישראל מקדשי שמך, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. רצה אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל ותפילתם, והשבת עבודה לדביר ביתך, ותפילתם באהבה תקבל ברצון, ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך. ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון ברחמים, ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו לציון, מודים אנחנו לך. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך והמרחם, כי לא תמו חסדיך מעולם קיווינו לך, ועל כולם יתברך ותרומם שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד, וכל החיים ידעו חסלה ויללו את שמך באמת, האל ישעתנו ועזרתנו סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני הטוב שמך לך נאה להודות. אלוהינו ולאבותינו ואמותינו, ברכנו בברכה מושלשת, התורה כתובה על ידי משה עבדך, האמורה מפי אהרון ובניו, כהנים עם קודשך כאמור. יברכך אדוני וישמרך, יאר אדוני פניו אליך וייחונך, יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום. שים שלום, שים שלום טובה וברכה בעולם, שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך, ברכנו אבינו כולנו כאחד ביור פניך. שים שלום, שים שלום, שים שלום טובה וברכה בעולם, שים שלום טובה וברכה, כי באור פניך נתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, תורת חיים ואהבת חסד, וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום. שים שלום, שים שלום, שים שלום טובה וברכה בעולם. שים שלום טובה וברכה. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. Page 167. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעולמה דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי חונוב יומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרמם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו. תתקבל צלותהון ואותהון דכל ישראל קודמה והונדי וישמעיה ואמרו. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Good morning and welcome to everyone. I see a couple of faces that we've not seen in some time. Bernie and Francis, Mary, it's good to see you too. Our tradition teaches us that when we see a loved one, someone who occupies an important place in our heart, for the first time after not seeing them in over a month, that the blessing might sound somewhat extreme. It's Baruch Mechayei HaMeitim. What is Mechayei HaMeitim? The one who revives the dead. It's an expression of those who might have felt lost to us, have been brought back and are in our midst, and we are overjoyed, just overjoyed to see both of you over here. Bernie, I must say that we've missed you. And Francis, we've missed you too. We've missed you for who you are. We've missed you for all that you do for us when you're here. And at first, it was a real struggle. How do we cope with you not being here? And what I'm going to say is the image that I have of a parent and a child, that the parent knows they've been successful if the child can leave the nest. And I'm not saying that we ever got it down to as good as when you are here. But after a while, we began to feel empowered by what you have done for us and given to us over so long, and what you have taught us, and the skills that you have engendered in us. And it was upon reflecting on that we began to develop the confidence to wobbly stand on our feet and try to continue to have services and do all that we need to do. But boy, is it good to see you. It's wonderful to have you, and it's wonderful to have you, Francis, with us.
Well, how do I follow such a wonderful, eloquent expression of our love for Bernie? I did plan this, so now I got to go through with it. We love you, Bernie. Oh, yes, we do. When you're not with us, we're blue. We love you, Bernie. That's true. Oh, Bernie, we love you.
Any other good news? Nothing? No other good news to share this week? Go ahead, Toby.
Stacy and Malachi are just moving into their house.
Stacy, and for those of you who couldn't hear, and possibly people at home who the microphone couldn't pick up Toby's voice, Stacy and Malachi are moving into their own house. What a huge milestone in the life of the entire family. May it be a move of, in Hebrew, when somebody acquires an important new possession, a house, a car, clothing, we say, titchadesh, titchadshu, may you be renewed by this new acquisition. May all of you experience nothing but blessing and success as they move forward with their lives and you move forward with your own. Ron.
The good news part is not the fact that I believe you'll be on vacation next week.
I'll be on vacation next week. That is good news.
The part is that we made arrangements to have Ellen come up and lead services.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, for those who couldn't hear what Ron said, Ellen Brandwine will be here next Shabbat, and she will be leading services. In my absence, I'll be on vacation. We're taking Ellie to camp, as we do every year at the end of June, and we'll spend a couple days away, and then we'll be back. Wonderful. Anything else? Yes?
We're meeting on Thursday for Concord, New Hampshire, to visit her daughter and son-in-law for a week.
Wonderful. Wonderful. The Goldens are traveling to New Hampshire to spend some time with their daughter and son-in-law. I'm hoping that this is a sign that you're feeling more comfortable and can sit in the car for a long ride.
Well, we'll just get out and walk around.
We'll get out and walk around. So we hope that the actual trip is easy and that you have a wonderful time visiting your mishpacha. Anything else? From Lake Wobegon, I can report that Nadav has graduated from elementary school and next year will be starting out at Barker Road Middle School in Pittsford. That's the story. Okay, let us continue. Let's turn now to page 168 as, there's one other piece of good news. I was hoping she might be here when we got to this point. She's not. She'll be here later. I'm pretty confident. Our congregation has a new president and who will be serving from now through the end of the calendar year. It's a president whom we know and love, Helen Cashton, and if you decide to sing Hail to the Chief when she walks in the door, that's up to you, but I want to.
We'll sing it.
Okay, exactly. Okay, page 168. Ein kamocha va'elohim Adonai ve'ein kema'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim umemshaltecha bechol dor vador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed Adonai oz la'amo yitein Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom Av harachamim heitiva virtzoncha et Zion Tivnech homot Yerushalayim Tivnech homot Yerushalayim Ki v'cha Nisa Adon Olamim. Vayehi bin Sova Aaron, Vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, Veyafutsu oivecha, Veyanusu misanecha, Mipanecha, Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, Udevar Adonai, Miyerushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, La'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato. Let us turn to page 169 and let us offer a prayer of gratitude at the bottom of the right-hand side. I thank you, Adonai, for knowing me, for granting me a measure of fullness, a fulfillment of small hopes and many yearnings. Thank you for the gift of this day. May the gratitude in my heart and the sense of fullness that I feel now continue to sustain me, taking root in my soul, even as I continue to dream and pray. It is good to thank you, Adonai, and to sing to your name, transcendent God. Give me strength to see the gift in each new day you grant. Beyanarachez, Velishmei Kadisha, Kadisha Yakira, Ana Emar Tuhush Bechan, Yeherava Ohodamar, Detiftach libi beoraita, Vetashlim mishalin dehelibi, Deliva decholama Israel, Letahavu lachayim, Velishlam. Amen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadol Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagadula v'hagavura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'haor. Ki ol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki ol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Lecha Adonai ha'malacham v'ha'mikaseh lechol erosh. Romemu, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, והשתחוו להדום רגליו קדוש הוא. רוממו, רוממו, אדוני אלוהינו, והשתחוו להר קודשו כי קדוש. אדוני אלוהינו. Okay, Richard, do you want to make your way down? You're reading Rishon and Sheni, right? Okay. Okay, let me show you where we're beginning. So, v'chita aseh. I had it a moment ago. V'chita aseh. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to leave that with you. Let me cover up. Let's get the show on the road. The first aliyah this morning begins on page 851. That's 851. And it starts at verse number 8. Vayazor vayagen v'yoshir l'chol hachosim bo v'nomar Amen. Ha'kol avu godel Eloheinu tnu chavod laTorah Kohen krav ya'amod kohen Baruch shenatan Torah lamo Yisrael b'kedushato ואתם הדבקים באדוני אלוהיכם, חיים כולכם היום. Bruce, you want to? I see. Okay. Baruch Adonai v'rach leolam va'ed. Shmo. Amen.
Amen. V'kita haseh ben bakar hala ozavach v'felah nederach shalamim v'hiyeh v'kriv al kein habakah tachat selat shlosha esronim v'alu
Belul b'shemen
בשמן חצי הכין, ויין תקריב לפניך חצי וחיתכון, אשר ריח ניחוח לאדוני.
ברוך אתה אלוהינו אשר נתן לנו טובת אמת וחי העולם לך בשמנו. ברוך אתה אלוהינו
Shmo. Amen. Yashar koach to Bruce and to Richard. The second aliyah is also on page 851, and it begins at verse number 11. Ya'amod Levi. Baruch Adonai barach leolam va'ed. Shemo. Amen.
ככה יעשה לשוחר האחד, או לעיל אחד. זה
בחפשים.
שאנשים אוהב בריזים, ומרכבר אשר תעשו ככה, תייחסו אחד במספרם. כל האזרח יעשה ככה, את אלה הקריב ישלח לאדוני. וכי הגוהר איתכם גהר, או אשר בתוככם לתורתכם, יחסי אישה הרך לכוח לאדוני, כך שתחסו כן יעשה, הקהל חוקת אחד לכם, ולגר הגהר חוקת עולם בדורתכם, ככה לגר יהיה לפני אדוני, תורת אחד ומשפחת אחד יהיה לכם לבני הגהר איתכם.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי העולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Yashar Koach to Bernie and to Richard. The third Aliyah continues on 851, and we begin at verse number 17. And Bernie, if I'm not mistaken, you're reading Shlishi.
No, we switched.
Oh, I'm wrong. Okay. Okay.
Bernie is such a great model of behavior. I said years ago, and when I grew up, I wanted to be Bernie Roth, and I now realize it's impossible. He's letting me do this. He was going to do these next two aliyahs, and he's letting me do them.
Very good. Ya ta'amod shlishit. Baruch Adonai hamvarach leolam va'ed. Shemo. Amen.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el bnei Israel va'amarta alehem. Bevoachem el haaretz asher ani mevi'echem shama. V'haya ba'achalchem milechem haaretz tarimu teruma l'Adonai. Reshit arisotechem chala tarimu truma, ki truma goren, ken trumat ata. Mereshit arisotechem titanu ladonai, truma ledorotechem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah te'emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah
Shemo.
Adonai notein ha'torah.
Amen. Yashar Koach to Marcy and to Cindy. The fourth Aliyah begins on page 852, and it begins at verse 22. Sorry, Sue, just 1 second. Ta'amod revi'it. Go for it. Baruch Adonai v'orach leolam va'ed. Amen.
Amen. V'chi tizku v'lo ta'asu et kol hamitzvot ha'ele asher diber Adonai el Moshe et kol asher tzivah Adonai lechem b'yad Moshe min hayom asher tzivah Adonai v'hala l'dorotechem v'haya im me'enei Nasta lishkaga ve'asu kol ha'eda par ben bakar echad le'olah reach nichoach l'Adonai u'minchato v'nizko kamishpat u'se'er izim echad l'chatat v'chiper hakohen al kol adat b'nei Israel v'nislach lahem ki shagagahi v'hem hevi'u et korbanam ishel Adonai v'chatatam lifnei Adonai al shigagatam v'nislach al shigagatam v'nislach l'chol adat b'nei Yisrael v'lager hagar b'tocham ki l'chol ha'am bishgagah.
Shamo. Amen. Yashar Koach to Sue and to Cindy. The fifth Aliyah is on page 853, and the reading begins at verse 27. Ta'amod chamishit. Baruch Adonai Havarach le'olam va'ed. Shamo. Amen.
Amen. Ve'im nefesh achat techeta bishgaga. Rivu is bachanatam lechatahad v'chiper hakohen al hanefesh hashogeged v'chatad bishgaga lifnei Adonai lechaper elav v'nislach lo Hazreach b'vnei Yisrael v'lager hagar b'tocham Torah achad hieh lachem laseh bishgaga bishgaga v'anefesh asher taseh b'yad ramah min ha'ezrach min hager et Adonai hu megadev v'nichreta nefesh ahi mikerev amam ki devar Adonai bazav v'et mitzvato hefar Hikared, Tichared, HaNefesh Hahim, Avonava.
Go ahead. Amen. Yashar Koach to Joyce and to Andrew. The sixth Aliyah is on page 854, and the reading begins at verse number 32.
Cindy pointed out to me something interesting, that she and I were both reading Aliyot that had to do with people doing something accidentally. And there's this, you know how the Torah scroll itself has lots of like fine annotations in certain places? It's got this very, very like Chanukiah level of like lots and lots of little lines, like every single one of the
Bishgaga. Yeah.
I hadn't known that.
It was hypnotizing.
It was. It's like, whoa, now what do I do? It's like underlining.
Yeah.
So If you get something wrong, it's not your fault. The Torah knows that. It's good advice for my laning. Yeah.
Ta'amod shishit. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Shema. Amen.
Amen. Vayiyu b'nei Yisrael bamidbar, vayimtzeu ish mikoshesh eitzim b'yom haShabbat, vayakrivu oto hamotzim oto mikoshesh eitzim El Moshe v'el Haron v'el kol ha'edam v'yanichu oto b'mishamar ki lo forash ma yaseh lo v'yomer Adonai El Moshe mot yumat ha'ish Ragom oto ba'avanim kol ha'edam michutz lamachaneh v'yatziu oto kol ha'edam michutz lamachaneh v'yirgemu oto ba'avanim v'yamot kasher tziva Adonai et Moshe.
Yashar Koach to Helen and to Andrew. At this point, before we continue with the reading, we offer blessing of healing for all of those in our lives, in our community, in our personal worlds, in the world out there and beyond, everyone who's in need of healing at this time. Mishaberach avotenu Abraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. Hu yivarech v'yirapeh et hacholim. Yitzchak Yosef ben Sarah, Elizabeth Crummins, Abraham ben Rachel, Harav Chana bat Aaron v'Yael, Nikaruda, Harriet Driss, Mendel Moshe ben David, William Stewart, Adam ben Fratel, Eli Shira bat Sarah, Hadassah bat Sarah, Beverly Malowitz, Judy bat Josephine, Avraham ben Tehila, Rebbetzin Chaya Necha bat Riva Leah, Chaya Sora bat Yehudit, Mark Donahue, Yisrael ben Batya, Yaakova Basha bat Leah Devora, Moshe Aryeh Lev Binyamin ben Ruth, Sifra Kala bat Zipporah, Joe McManus, Devora bat Esther, Jed Salisbury, Stephanie Litvak, Miriam bat Shoshana Leah, Laurie Davis, Sarah bat Ben Zion v'Shoshana, Chaya Malka bat Chaviva, Baruch ben Rivka Gittel, Miriam bat Yehudit, Pinchas ben Chava v'Chaim, Sarah bat Dina v'David, Yael bat Devora, Eliza bat Chaya u'Mordechai, Chava bat Yosef v'Ilona, Michael Stoller, Joe McDonald, Levi Yitzchak ben Rivka, Rafael Chaim ben Yehuda Yaakov, Yitzchak ben Abraham, Chana Leah bat Shira Sivan, Michael Chris, Richard Grieco, Reuven Yankel ben Bracha Esther Halevi, Larry Newman, Yeta Yisrael bat Mindel v'Nachum, Tzvi Hirsch ben Frida, official label ben Leah. And if there are any names which you would like to add, please do so.
Harriet Noble.
הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, להחזיקם ולרפאותם, וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש, רפואת הגוף, בתוך שאר החולים, ויחזק את ידי העוסקים בצורכיהם. שבת היא מלזעוק, ורפואה קרובה לבוא, השתה בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. We continue now with the 7th Aliyah, and that is on page 854, and the reading begins at verse number 37. Ya'amod Shvi'i Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Va'ed. Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael va'amarta lehem ve'asu lahem tzitzit al kanfei vigdehem ledoratam v'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf patil techelat v'haya lachem l'tzitzit Ura'etem oto, uzechartem ekol mitzvot Adonai, va'asitem otam, v'lo taturu, acharei levavachem, v'acharei nechem, asher atem zonim achareihem, leman tizkaru, va'asitem ekol mitzvotai, v'yitem kadoshim le'elohechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeti echem me'eretz Mitzrayim, li'od lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Amen. Yashar Koach to Ed and to Cindy and to the entire chorus that joined in so beautifully. Readers Kaddish, and then we shall continue with the maftir. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah be'olma divrach hirotei v'yamlich malchutei mecha hayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kahariv ve'imru amen Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach ve'olam ulol meyon maya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha le'ela min kol bichata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechamata da'ami hiran be'olma ve'ihimaruhu Amen. Ta'amod maftira.
Do you want to read them off too? No? Okay.
Just to let you know, the maftir is the exact same as the 7th Aliyah, beginning at verse 37. Baruch Adonai v'rach leolam va'ed. Shmo. Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai al Moshe lemor, daber El B'nai Yisrael va'amarta lehem ve'asu lahem tzitzit al kanfei vigdehem l'dorotam v'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf patil techelet v'haya hachem l'tzitzit uritem oto Uzakartem ekol mitzvot Adonai va'asitem otam v'lo taturu acharei lavachem v'acharei nechem asher atem zonim achareihem L'man tizkaru v'asitem ekol mitzvotai v'item kadoshim le'elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti echem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem
Shemo. Amen. Yashar koach to Karen and to Cindy. And at this point, if everyone who has participated in this morning's Torah service, whether you read from the Torah, whether you received an aliyah, please rise so that we can direct our blessing to you. Misha berach avotenu Abraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, ve'imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, veLeah, hu yevarech et kol ele, she'alu hayom lichvod hamakom, v'lichvod haTorah, v'lichvod haShabbat. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishmor otam, ve'et kol mishpachotehem, ve'yishlach bracha v'atzlacha b'chol ma'aseh yedehem, im kol Yisrael achehem, ve'achyotehem, ve'nomar Amen. And don't sit. If you're comfortable standing, please stay standing. If you're not comfortable, by all means sit. And the rest of you, if it's comfortable for you to rise, please do, as we will cover the Torah scroll now. We may be seated, and let's turn to page 857 for the Haftarah. This morning's Haftarah comes to us directly from the book of Joshua, page 857.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacha b'nimim tovim v'ratza v'divreihem namarim b'emet Baruch atah Adonai hamocheh b'torah uv'Moshe avdoho uv'Yisrael amoho Uvinviei hamet v'tzedek. Vayishlach Yehoshua bin Nun min hashittim shanayim anashim raglim cheresh lemor lechu ra'u et ha'aretz v'et Yericho vayelchu vayavohu beit isha zonah ushma rachav vayishkavu shama vayamar Lamelech Yericho lemor hine anashim va'ohena halayla mi b'nei Yisrael lachbo et haaretz vayishlach melech Yericho el rachav lemor hotzi Hanashim habayim elayich asher ba'u leveiteh ki lach por et koretz ba'u Vatikach haisha et shnei hanashim vatitzpano vatomer ken Ba'u elai hanashim v'lo yadati me'ahin hema Vayehi hashar liskor b'choshech v'anashim yatza'u lo yadati ana halchu hanashim Ritfu mahem acharehem ki tasiguhum Vehi helatama hagaga vatitmanem befishtehem ha'etz haruchot la al hagag Hanashim radfu acharehem derech hayarden al hamavrot v'hashar sagaru acharehem kasher yatzu harodfim acharehem V'hema teram yishkavuhun v'hi al ta'alehem al hagag v'tomer el hanashim yadati kinatan Adonai lachem et ha'aretz v'chinaflah ematchem Alenu v'china mogu kol yoshvei haaretz mipnechem ki shamanu et asher hovish Adonai et meheyam suv mipnechem b'tzeitchem mimitzrayim Vasher asitam lishnei malchei hamori asher be'ever hayarden l'sichon ulohog asher hecharamtam otam vanishma Vayimahas levavenu v'lokama od ruach ba'ish mipnechem ki Adonai Elohechem hu Elohim b'shamayim mima'al v'ha'aretz mitachat v'tah Hashivuna li Adonai Ki asiti imachem chased vasitem gamatem im beit avi chesed untatem li ot et met v'chayitem et aviv yetimi v'yedachai v'yedachyotai v'et kol asher lahem v'yitzaltem et naf shotenu mimavet vayomru la hanashim nafshenu tachtechem lamut im lo tagidu et devarenu zeh v'haya b'teit Adonai lanu et haaretz v'asinu imach chesed v'emet v'toridem b'chavel b'ad hachalon ki ve'ta b'kir hachomah v'chomah hi yoshavet v'tomer lahem ha'harav lechu pen yifga'u v'chem harod fihim v'nach beitem shama shloshat yamim ad shov harofihim v'achar telchu l'darkachem v'yomru ela hanashim v'kiyim anachnu mishuatecha zeh asher hishbatanu hine anachnu vayim ba'aretz et tikvahu hashani hazeh tiksharu b'chalon asher horatenu vohom v'yadavich v'yadimech v'yadachayich v'et kol bet avich tasfihi elayich habayta v'haya kol asher yetzeh midateh v'teh hachutza damo v'rosho v'anachnu nakiyim v'chol asher yitach b'bayit damo v'roshenu im yad tiyabo v'im tagidi et devarenu zeh v'hayinu nakiyim mishuatech asher hishbatanu v'tomer kedivrechem kenhu v'tashlachem v'yelechu v'tikshor et tikvat hashani b'chalon v'yelchu v'yavo ha'ar v'yeshvu sham shalosh et yamim ad shavu harod fihim v'yavakshu harod fihim v'chol haderech v'lo matza'u v'yashuvu shnei anashim v'yardu mehar v'yavru v'yavo'u el Yehoshua bin Nun v'yisapru lo et kol hamotzot otam v'yomru el Yehoshua ki natan Adonai b'yadenu et kol haaretz v'gam namogu kol yoshvei haaretz mipanenu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol ha'olamim tzadik v'chol darot alehen eman haomer v'yoseh hamdaber kayehim shekol davar atem tzedek v'ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'ne'eman yidvarecha v'davar echad midvarecha hu lo yashiv rekam ki hamelech ne'eman v'rachaman atah Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu eman b'chol davar Rachem al Zion ki beit chayenu Lav nefesh toshia b'merav yameinu Baruch atah Adonai V'samei Zion b'vaneha Samchenu Adonai Eloheinu b'Eliyahu hanavi avdecha Ufmalchut beit David Meshichecha b'mhera yavo v'yagel libenu Al ki solo yeshav zar v'lo yichalu od achrim et kvodo Ki b'shem chashcha nishbata lo shelo yichbenero le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Magen David HaTorah v'Havodah v'Hanvi'im v'Yom HaShabbat hazeh Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha l'chavod u'tifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach u'mvarachim otach yitbarach shimcha b'fi kol chai tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat
Amen. Yasher Koach. Yasher Koach. If you have an English blessing, this would be a good time.
On page 177, the alternative prayer for our country. Please join me. Our God and God of our ancestors, grant to our country. Oops. The alternative prayer for our country?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We'll start again.
Okay.
Our God and God of our ancestors, grant to our country the will and wherewithal to fulfill its calling to justice, liberty, and equality. May each of us fulfill our responsibilities of citizenship with care, generosity, and gratitude, ever conscious of the extraordinary blessing of freedom, ever mindful of our duties to one another. Bless those who volunteer to labor on behalf of us all. May they find the strength and courage to complete their tasks and fulfill their dreams. May our judges, elected leaders, and all who hold public office exercise the responsibility with wisdom, fairness, and justice for all. Fill them with love and kindness, and bless them that they may walk with integrity on the paths of peace and righteousness. Creator and protector of all, watch over our armed forces and all those who entrusted with our safety as they daily put their lives at risk to protect us and our freedoms. Be with them in times of danger. Give them courage to act with honor and dignity, as well as insight to do what is right in your eyes. Fill us all with the gifts of love and courage, that we may create a world that reflects your glory. May we each respond to the charge of your prophet. For what does Adonai demand of you but to act justly, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God? May the one who brings peace on high bring peace and prosperity to our world and keep us in safety. And let us say, Amen.
Please join me in the prayer for the state of Israel at the top of the page. Avinu Shabbat Shemayim, stronghold and redeemer of the people Israel. Bless the state of Israel, that it may be the beginning of our redemption. Shield it with your love. Spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them, crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace, and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us say, Amen.
Before Ashrei, we're going to, before we recite Ashrei this morning, we are going to announce the new month, Rosh Chodesh, which will be with us in the coming week. It's Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. And on page 179, the description of Tammuz is that it is most frequently the time of the summer solstice. The 17th of Tammuz marks the time of the breaching of the wall of Jerusalem by the Babylonian Emperor Nebuchadnezzar in 586 before the Common Era, and the second conquest by the Romans under Titus in 70 in the Common Era. And it begins a period of 3 weeks of mourning, marked by special Haftarot, 3 weeks, which ends at Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of Av. A Midrashic tradition places on that same day Moses' smashing of the first set of tablets in response to the golden calf. Tammuz's symbol is a crustacean. Why? I do not know. Why they would pick well, I guess it's not the only treif animal around here. We don't eat lion either, and yeah.
Doesn't it refer to the zodiac?
Yeah, it does. It just, it interests me that they would pick a blatantly treif animal, but
the zodiac, that's not Jewish, is it?
No, I know.
So why are we
I don't know.
non-Jewish symbols?
I don't know what that connection is about. So it's something that I need to research, but it's pretty surprising to me too.
It used to be, I'm pretty sure, I used to go to temple, B'nai Israel, I think it was. The rabbi, I can't remember his name.
Don't worry.
In the city, on Joseph Avenue. And the stained glass windows were all the zodiac signs. All around the sanctuary.
Well, I tell you what.
Everybody said it was nonsense, including Rambam.
Yeah.
But there have been lots of synagogues, ancient synagogues, excavated, and they've seen zodiac symbols on there. And they said that the following rabbis davened here, and they would name rabbis who proclaimed against zodiacs. It's sort of a strange relationship.
I do not know. I volunteer to research it. All that I can say about astrology is a saying that I once heard. I don't remember who said it, but the saying went that astrology is a science that makes economics look credible. Please rise if it's comfortable for you to do so.
The red paragraph on the bottom of page 179 sort of explains it.
Helen is pointing us to the bottom of the page 179. The circuit of the months of the year is marked by the dominance of different constellations of the stars. Okay, so that is helping us. Synagogues were often adorned with images of these constellations, as if in entering the synagogue, one had ascended to heaven. This page illustrates the months of the year and their associated symbols, which have decorated synagogues through the ages. So I find that semi-satisfying. And I'm going to pause at this point and continue, and we can discuss it outside later on. Please join me by turning to page 180. יהי רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, שתחדש עלינו את החודש הבא לטובה ולברכה, ותיתן לנו חיים ארוכים, חיים של שלום, חיים של טובה, חיים של ברכה, חיים של פרנסה, חיים של חילוץ עצמות, חיים שיש בהם יראת שמיים ויראת חטא, חיים שאין בהם בושה וכלימה, חיים של עושר וכבוד, חיים שתהא בנו אהבת תורה ויראת שמיים, חיים שימלאו משאלות ליבנו לטובה. Amen. Selah. May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, grant that this month brings us goodness and blessing, and bestow on us a long life, a life that is peaceful, a life that is good, a life that is blessed, a life with proper sustenance, a life with physical vitality, a life conscious of heaven's demands and wary of sin, a life free of shame and reproach, a life of abundance and honor, not excess but dignity, a life of love, of Torah, conscious of heaven's demands, a life in which the worthy desires of our hearts are fulfilled. Misha asani sim lavotenu ulimotenu, v'ga'al otam me'avdut lecherut, hu yig'al otanu bekarov, v'kabetz midachenu me'arba kanfot ha'aretz, chaverim kol Yisrael v'nomar Amen. Rosh Chodesh Tammuz יהיה ביום רביעי וביום חמישי הבא עלינו ועל כל ישראל לטובה. The new month of Tammuz will begin on Tuesday evening and will be celebrated on Wednesday and Thursday. May it hold blessing for us and for all the people Israel, and indeed for all people everywhere. Yechadshehu HaKadosh Baruch Hu Aleinu ve'al kol amo Bet Yisrael lechayim u'leshalom, lesason u'lesimcha, lishua u'lenechama v'nomar Amen. Ashrei. Ashrei on page 181.
Ashrei Ashrei B'techa Oyahuka Sela
Ashrei Am Shekachah Lo Ashrei Am Shadonai Elohav
Tehila LeDavid Aromim L'cha Elohai HaMelech Baruch Shemcha Le'olam Va'ed Gadol Adonai Emo Me'od V'ligadoto En Cheker Hadar Kevod Hodecha V'divrei Neflatecha Asicha Zecher Rav Tuvcha Yabi'u V'tzedakcha Yiranenu Tov Adonai L'chol V'rachamav Al Kol Ma'asav Kivod Malchutcha Yomeru U'v'ratecha Yiranenu Malchutcha Malchut Kol Omim U'memshatecha B'chol Dor V'dor
Somech Adonai L'chol Anofim V'zokef L'chol HaKufim
Einecho Elecha Yisaberu V'yata Noten Lahem Et Achlam Be'ito Tzadik Adonai B'chol Derachav V'chassid B'chol Ma'asav
Harov Adonai L'chol Torav L'chol Asher Yivraku Be'emet
Ratzon Yireh Yaseh Ve'et Shabbatam Yishma V'Yoshiyim.
Shomer Adonai kol ohav v'kol shanim yashmihi.
Tehillat Adonai Yedaber Pi, Vivarech Kol Basar Shem Shelo Olam Va'ed. V'anachnu V'Ha'eleh V'Atav V'Olam. Hallelujah.
If it is comfortable for you to do so, please rise as we lift up the Torah and return it to the Aron Kodesh. Yehalelu Shem Adonai, Yizgahav Shemo Levado, Odo al Eretz V'Shamayim, Vayarem Keren Leyamo, Teila Lecho, Asida, Livnei Israel Am Karovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Mizmor LeDavid. Avol Adonai b'nei Elim, Avol Adonai kavod va'oz, Avol Adonai kavod shemo, Yishtachavu Adonai v'harat kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim, el kavod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai v'hakova, Kol Adonai v'hadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, v'yeshaber Adonai el arzei Lebanon, v'yarkidem kemo egel. Lebanon resirion kehmo ben re'emim. Kol Adonai otzef lahavotech. Kol Adonai yachil midbar. Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh. Kol Adonai yecholel layalot. Vayechesof ya'arot. Uvechalo kulo merkavot. Adonai lamamu Yasha, Vayeshev Adonai Melech Leolam, Adonai Yos Leyamote, Adonai Yevarech Edamo Vashalom. Uvrucho Yomar. Ilekachto natati lachem Torati al tazovu Eitz Chaim hi lama chazim ba Shabbat Shalom. Some of you might have heard about this, I don't know. The United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network, that's a mouthful. They conduct an annual survey of 150 countries, of citizens within those countries, in order to compile a report which they call the World Happiness Report. And they create a list of the happiest countries where most people are happy to the least unhappy. So, Exhibit A, numbers 1 through 3. I don't know how many of you can identify all of these flags. Number 1, any takers? Wow, nice. Number 2, Denmark. Number 3, Norway, exactly. No. No, it's not. It's Iceland, thank you very much. Did I mess this up? No, I didn't. It's Iceland. Cindy gets it. It's Iceland. Okay. Numbers 4 through 6. Switzerland. The 5th happiest country is the Netherlands. And the 6th happiest country is? Luxembourg. I once went on a tour of embassies in Washington, D.C. on Massachusetts Avenue, and the tour guide said, and Luxembourg, here's their embassy. It is the only country that has an embassy the size of their own country. Number 7, Sweden. Number 8, Norway. Number 9? Okay, hold it. How many of you are surprised that Israel is the 9th happiest country in the world? I have to admit that I was surprised. Helen is nodding no, she's not surprised. I was surprised. Israel, in case you haven't been following the news for the past 74 years or so, Israel has a lot of issues. And yet it's ranked consistently within the top 10 every year. This year was not unusual. So Cindy was surprised, I was surprised, one or two of you, Sue was surprised. You know who else I think might have been surprised? The Israelites in the desert. I think they might have been surprised. This week, we read how Moses, following God's instruction according to the rabbis, Moses appoints 12 tribes. 12 spies, a representative of each tribe, sends them into Israel because the people are getting anxious. Is this a place we should go to or not? And they come back, and 10 out of the 12 say, we shouldn't do this. And it's traumatic. It's traumatic. Why do they say we shouldn't do this? They don't lie about the riches and the positive aspects about Israel. They don't deny that. They don't deny that it's allegedly a land flowing with milk and honey, and they bring back the fruits that is massive and it's great. But the land is inhabited by other people. And Cindy quoted the words in the narrative, we are like grasshoppers, meaning that we will easily be trodden on and wiped out. We're reading in the book of Numbers. If you jump to Deuteronomy, chapter 129, the language is, our brothers have broken our hearts. Our brothers have broken our hearts with their report when they said, we saw there a people stronger and taller than we, large cities with walls sky high, and even Anakites. Our brothers have broken our hearts. What is so tragic about their report, don't go, is not that they lie, it's that they destroy any sense of hope. We cannot live without hope. It makes life unbearable. It makes life unbearable. And yesterday, hope was destroyed for us living here. Now, not everybody is upset with the outcome. There are people, plenty people who truly believe that it was the right decision. There are plenty people, certainly within our community, who struggle with the notion of abortion. And I don't regard it flippantly either, that it must be something easy. I cannot imagine that it's easy, but certainly for thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, let's leave it at that, for many, many women who have pregnancies which for one reason or another threaten their future. Hope has been taken away. I wrote in our bulletin a few weeks ago that certainly if you are opposed to abortion and the availability of, well, to abortion, I'm not trying to convince you, otherwise you're entitled to your thoughts. From a Jewish perspective, abortion is permitted under certain circumstances. And I quoted a statement by the Orthodox Union. This is the largest representative body of Orthodox Jews in our country, which says Jewish law prioritizes the life of the pregnant mother over the life of the fetus, such that where the pregnancy critically endangers the physical health or mental health of the mother, an abortion may be authorized, if not mandated by halakha, and should be available to all women irrespective of their economic status. Legislation and court rulings federally or in any state that ban abortion without regard for the health of the mother would literally limit our ability to live our lives in accordance with our religious responsibility to preserve life. I'm not here to convince you or to change your opinion, but what I am telling you is that the vast majority of rabbis in this country, in accordance with their understanding of what Jewish law instructs us, feel that it is a matter of our religious freedom, in addition to the right of women to make choices for themselves. It's a matter of religious freedom that abortion should be accessible. And the decision that was made yesterday, or announced yesterday, which stems from the Catholic and fundamentalist Christian belief that life begins at conception is imposing a fundamentalist Christian belief on the rest of us who do not subscribe to fundamentalist Christianity, and is a blatant infringement on the religious freedom of Americans. I have to admit that I've been in a bit of a personal slump, feeling for some weeks now, since shootings began, or once again. I mean, they didn't begin again. They're a constant. But the scale started up again. And then the rulings on New York's gun restrictions, earlier in the Thursday, the ruling about abortion yesterday, and I haven't been feeling that hopeful and haven't known what the answer is. I don't know for sure what the answer is, how to feel and find hope right now as a Jew in a country that your parents or grandparents or great-grandparents came to seeking and pursuing hope. And that's what made it such a wonderful place. That's what made it so different, because it offered so much hope. And as Chuck Schumer said yesterday was one of the darkest days in American history, as for the first time a right was taken away. I've struggled to answer my own question, so where's the hope? I've not made it a secret about how I responded to the presidency of Donald Trump. It was during his presidency that I, as a Red Sox fan, a Boston Red Sox fan, bought this hat. Boston Red Sox logo in the colors of the pride flag. I'm not LGBTQ. I sometimes forget what all of those letters stand for. But as I perceived personally that they were under attack, and they were, it felt important for me to wear on my sleeve, to wear on my head, an outward symbol and sign of support and love for those who were being publicly marginalized, being pushed back into the closet, being treated less than equally. And it felt important to me as a human being, as a Jew, to try to heal my tiny corner of the world by offering some sense of hope as I walk around in the world in public to those who might be feeling the brunt of that ostracization. I bought the hat and I still wear it. I have a number of kippot with rainbow colors on them as well. And it seemed to me that in our moment of despair right now, one of the few choices, and certainly the most logical and natural choices, is for us to respond as Jews, for us to acknowledge and understand, consistent with ancient Jewish teachings, that we live in a world that is broken, and that we have not only a role but an obligation to heal that brokenness, to identify and to welcome the stranger and the vulnerable, to remember that we were once the stranger and vulnerable, to reach out to them and to do what we can to make their world even that much better. So what do we do now? I haven't come up with many answers. I've been struggling with it. But it does seem to me that perhaps what we can do is do some research and find funds out there which will help women in states where they may no longer get abortions, to help them travel to where they need to be. And after that, we need to find funds that will help them in their legal defenses so that they are not jailed upon their returns. That's my proposal for now. I don't have any better. I'm still not feeling great, but I know that if I thought of nothing that I could do, I would feel even worse. And that's what I've come up with so far. If any of you have any ideas, other ideas, I welcome them. Let's discuss them after the service when we're outside. But that's what I've got for now, which I hope is better than nothing. I will do the research. When I find some answers, I will share the information. And that's what makes us Jewish, that we have a role to play in this world, not only when things affect us directly, but to be vigilant and hypersensitive to the pain and suffering of others too. Sue, you want to?
I just wanted to say that's exactly how I thought I could help, just by helping women need to get into New York State.
Yeah. Shabbat Shalom. Page 184. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך ירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה, ובזמן כהריב, ואמרו אמן, יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דעה מהירן ביולמה ואמרו אמן. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ופוקד ומשיח ומגן. ברוך אתה האדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה האדוני מחיי המתים. נעריצך ונקדישך כסוד שיח שרפי קודש, המקדישים שמך בקודש, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה ויאמר. קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו, כבודו מלא עולם, משרתיו שואלים זה לזה, היה מקום כבודו, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, ממקומו, הוא יפן ברחמים, ויחון עם יחדים שמו, ערב ובוקר, בכל יום תמיד, פעמיים באהבה, שמה אומרים. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד, הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו, והוא ישמיענו מרחמיו שנית לעיני כל חי, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור. ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש, לא ימוש לעולם ועד, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, כי אל מלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה די 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 די. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. תיקנת שבת רצית? If you are still davening silently, please continue and take as much time as you need while the community turns now to page 203. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעולמה דברך ירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו. יהי שמי רבה מבורח, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו. תתקבל צלותון ובאותון בכל ישראל, קודם אבוהון די בשמיה, ואמרו. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו. Amen. 204. אין כאלוהינו, אין כאדוננו, אין כמלכנו, אין כמושיענו, מי כאלוהינו, מי כאדוננו, מי כמלכנו, מי כמושיענו. נודה לאלוהינו, נודה לאדוננו, נודה למלכנו, נודה למושיענו. ברוך אלוהינו, ברוך אדוננו, ברוך מלכנו, ברוך מושיענו. אתה הוא אלוהינו, אתה הוא אדוננו, אתה הוא מלכנו, אתה הוא מושיענו, אתה הוא שהקטירו אבותינו לפניך את קטורת הסמים. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגופי מרומי. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו. וידעת היום ולשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת עינו. כי המלכות שלך ירומיה תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. This Shabbat and in the week ahead, members of our community will remember loved ones who've passed away at this time in years gone by. And they are Hyman Friedman, Bert Lurie, Philip Lurie, Edith Jaffe, Ida Marcus, Marcus Phillips, Hyman Cherkasky, Helene Penzick, Celia Lurie. We also remember loved ones who've passed away within the past year, for whom their families are still in mourning. Selma Fleissig, Shirley Martin, Annette Applebaum, Janet Gordon, Jeff Benowitz, and Alan Herman. And I'm also sorry to inform you that our community had an important loss this week with the passing of Eva Abrams, mother of Bonnie. Eva will, you wouldn't have seen it on the internet yet. Bonnie, when I met with her yesterday, was planning to bury her mom in Florida on Wednesday, and she was still trying to work out when and how to fit in Shiva upon her return from Florida. I want to just tell you something else. Bonnie was very concerned about doing the right thing, about knowing whether to be here this morning or not, and said, "Isn't it strange if I'm not?" And I tried to make it very clear that in what the period known as Aninut, between the death and the burial, one is exempt from prayer and participating in communal life, and made it quite clear to her that she ought to not feel bad at all about not being here. In fact, the tradition is to not be in shul in this period. And lest anybody be questioning, so why is Bonnie not here? Bonnie's not here because I encouraged her not to be, and because she was trying to weigh up what was the right thing to do. Are there any other yard sites which I omitted? Okay. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 207. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divra hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon of yomechon, uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imeru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imeru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Bam, bam, ba, bam, bam, ba-dam, ba, 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 bam. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I had to confirm a couple of things with Rabbi. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Shabbat Shalom. This may look familiar to some of you. Thank you to Ron and to Andrew, Ron put together a meeting of past presidents last week, and on Tuesday I was, the honor of being elected by the board to finish out Sue's term, so I'll be in this role till the end of 22 and only to the end of 22. Yes, extremely sure about that. So it's been a busy couple of weeks. Before I get into the announcements, I have a lot of catching up to do. We have a lot of things really precariously balanced in the air. I do want to let you know that the medical COVID committee met this week, made some recommendations. They have to go through the executive board, the rabbi, the board, and we have to get committees that are working to make things happen until it's implemented. It will change, not this week and not next week. Just letting everybody know, there will be some easing outside of the sanctuary and some adjustments within the sanctuary. Masks will be required in the sanctuary still, so I'm just putting that out there. So, to the announcements. One is that Rabbi is on vacation next week, and Ellen Brandwine has graciously accepted our invitation to come to town and see her mom and dad and lead services for us on Shabbat. And tonight, the National Council of Jewish Women at 6 p.m. are holding an early Havdalah, and here at TBK, 6 p.m., entering on the backside, which will be, I don't know what to call it, a vigil, an education, something to do with yesterday's Supreme Court decision. So the Jewish community, if you're on Facebook, you will have seen it's already engaged, and we will, as a community, find a way to be a part of that. Thank you to Cindy for sponsoring today's take-home treats in honor of Bernie being here. Welcome home, Bernie. Thank you, Cindy. Havdalah will meet tonight at 9:50 on Zoom. Torah study with Howard Brill is suspending until further notice. We'll figure something out. I've only been president for 3 days. We'll figure everything out. The next Board of Trustees meeting, oh, this is good to know, will be on Zoom on July 19th. If you'd like to attend as a guest, please contact the office. The golf outing is Monday, July 25th. Phil Katzman or the Temple office for more information. As we've heard before, Rabbi is generally available, and Mondays between 10 and 11 a.m. are specifically open for us. And if you do need to reach him, weekdays are best. Cemetery plots, if you'd like to sponsor take-home treats, contact the office. And today I did bring a couple of chairs in my car, and we'll enjoy some time in the shade. I believe Kiddush is being set up outside.
Usually it's down on this side.
Oh, on that side? Okay.
Yeah, outside the park.
Okay, somewhere.
If there's chairs out there, we can bring some more out.
Okay. So we'll enjoy Kiddush, and I guess Cindy's gonna take it away. And I just want to thank Rabbi for that sermon. That was just a great articulation, I think, of how many of us feel. And it gives me hope to know that our community is coming together.
Thank you, Rabbi. I really appreciated the sermon.
Before she sings, can I make a prediction? I don't think this will last longer than Prohibition did. And I think it'll do for the pro-life movement. Can you all hear me?
Can we do that after?
You should, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra le'et nasa b'chev sokol asai melech shemo nigrak be'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimlok nora v'hu haya v'hu hoveh v'hu yiyah b'tifara v'hu echad v'ein sheni l'hamshilo l'habira b'li reshi b'li tachli b'lo ha'os v'ha'misra v'hu eli v'chai goli v'tur chavli b'ein tzara v'hu nisi u'manosli menakosi b'yom ekra b'yado afkid ruchi b'eit ishan b'a'ira b'im ruchi gaviyati Adonai v'lo ira la 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 la.
Okay.
joy,
I don't
will
think
visit
this will last longer than prohibition.
They will, yes, I will do that. I will she prays that I always bring copies just in case. I'm confident that she will bring them. I will do either tonight or tomorrow before I leave, because I know she's going away. So has access to a car, I guess. Thank you very much. You know what to do. Ellen knows what to do.
Very good. Have a nice vacation.
Thank you.
I've gone that way.
It's an annual thing. We take Ellie to camp in Massachusetts.
Yeah, and then he goes to the beach in Delaware, and then to great Sabbath.
Very nice.
Dan, from your mouth. From your mouth.
Through the pro-life movement on prohibitions through the WCTU.
How long did
13 years.
So in order for you to be right, that means that we need to get another an additional 2 liberal justices in 30.
And the other thing is, there's no better way to get rid of a bad law than to enforce it. Part of the reason prohibitions are so short, people be enforced.
It's unenforceable.
Well, it was, but it wasn't supposed to be very...
Yeah. Right. But I don't know enough about the history of prohibition. The difference with this is that it has its religious fervor.
So she grew up around here.
And it was also partly anti-Catholic.
You're like, no, I can't. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. He made a documentary of
Oh, I'm sorry. I saved that beautiful part for you.
Shabbat shalom. Everybody, let's go downstairs and let's get him. Sharon's waiting. Hi.
It's already a small thank you gift for yesterday.
It's not a crustacean.
And you know what? This is what I can see that is that it turns out. This is the monster.
Sure,
I'll just
sure.
sit public.
Sure.
I'm not, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yes, we're leaving tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll go sometime in the morning, and I'm back at 6.
Yeah, yeah. Still, if we can keep them out, but it's good.
All right.
Downstairs. I can like it very much.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Everybody gets stuff?
Scott,
Uh-huh.
when I give a donation for the golf outing, is my money getting split? Or is the money if I sponsor a hole, is it going to Beth David?
The sponsorship will go to Beth David. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you know what, I'm not,